Happy Monday. Sorry, this light is like shining right in my face. Happy Monday. My name is Marisa. If you're new here, if you're returning, welcome back. And man, happy Monday. So okay, so like I said, like in the past few months, the Lord's just been giving me so much more clarity of my situation in my life. And I know I made a video a couple of videos ago about just sitting in your pain and like sitting with it and feeling it and facing it and not running from it. And I want to talk about that on a deeper level today. Like that's one of the things that the Lord had been just exposing to my heart this year, because when he brought me here, I thought it was for some reason, or at first, I was like, oh, is this another California? Is this, I'm going to meet a bunch of people and do ministry, and like you have some sort of expectation because of what the Lord has done before, that is he going to do that same thing again? But I really tried hard not to presume what he would do this time around. I put no expectation on it, and I just wanted to like wait on the Lord. And what happened was a little confusing at first because nothing happened. I just sat and I just waited, and it was so much alone time, so much isolation. I probably more isolation than I've ever had in my entire life, like alone. The first 6 months at least were completely by myself. And then, I have my BFF now, and I have some friends here now, but even still, it's not like family friends or like close friends that, you know what I mean? Just, you know what I mean? It's just like people that you talk to, you see frequently and stuff like that, but not close friends. Anyway, so this whole year I had to like go through, and hold on, and years prior to this year, I'd been running, I had my running shoes on for a while, and I had been staying chronically busy doing ministry stuff for years. And I think this year I hit like this brick wall of burnout and exhaustion, not only just in ministry, just in my own heart and my own mind. I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't. And so me being here, I didn't know I was burned out until I got here. And it was just like sitting with myself, analyzing my life, going through everything. You realize, man, I just couldn't have done anything else or been anything else to any person, or it was overwhelming me, and I didn't even know that that's what was going on. And so like it took a whole year of processing my life and going through stuff and resting in the Lord, and just spending time with him in the secret place, and not having any expectation on producing something, or any kind of expectation of, just making YouTube videos, which is, really, even at some points I didn't even want to do that, but that's not that hard. And so anyway, I just had to go through it, and just sit and quiet and repose and just analyze and think and ponder and evaluate and all the stuff that sometimes we just don't want to do, because it's easier not to face our problems than to actually look at our patterns and our bad behavior and our own self, as the problem. And so during this time of deep, God just unraveled some places in my heart this year, and I really had to look at those things and come to terms with, like, I think in the past few years he had been leading me to this place of revelation, but I think like in California I had the epiphany of like, oh no, I thought I was a good person, you know what I mean? Until I went to California, and then I realized, like, I had the epiphany of, oh no, I'm a shitty person. And that was my first epiphany of like, oh, the problem might be me. I might be the problem. And so being here, I've had to look at me and like all my issues and my shortcomings and my, my stuff. And the Lord, and it's not all bad. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the mistakes I've made that I was blaming other people for, that I didn't even realize, all that stuff. You just have to look at yourself sometimes, and look at your patterns, look at your the way you treat people, look at the outcomes, look at, all of it, and just look at it. And so anyway, it has been the most freeing and painful experience of my whole life. And this whole year, God was just so gentle with me, and just so like everything I needed was right there. It wasn't like abundance, like normally I have more than enough, it was everything I needed. Sometimes it was a struggle, but he took care of everything. When a problem came up, he immediately fixed it, and so I've been here over like 1 year this month, and I hadn't put any expectations on the Lord of like what he was going to do or if he was going to do anything, and I had no timetable or anything like that. But lately I felt burdened. Well, winter is upon us now again, and so I'm just like, I don't know if I can do another winter. Like, it's exhausting to go back into survival mode again and just stay warm all the time. So I just said by February, Lord, like February, if nothing happens, I'm going either home or I may actually, Pastor Phil, he's like, come back to California. So I don't know. I just know that, like, I need to be around people, you know what I mean? And people that I love. And so I think that was one of also the biggest lessons this year is like, just, we need people. We need people in our lives, and that was my biggest epiphany about my shortcomings is like, I'm a runner. I got them running shoes on. I'm going to run from a situation I don't want that makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to like avoid and, just run from anything that makes me uncomfortable. And so having to sit with myself this year, I was always running from myself, by the way. That was the epiphany. And so having to sit with myself, I'm like, oh, no matter where you go, there you are. And so and I've learned this lesson several different times in different ways in my life, but it's a common theme. So anyway, yeah, I'm not African, but thank you. That's funny. Um, just a little white girl with dreadlocks. So anyway, the comments are wild again. Y'all are wild. Anyway, so just sometimes we just have to let God work on us, and it felt like he was doing surgery all year, and like every little thing that would come up, I would just have to internally process and analyze and scrutinize and feel it and not run from it and just deal with it when it came up, and then he would move me on to the next thing. And just lately I've just felt like, okay, I've had enough of isolation. Like, I gotta get back to real life again, but I think I was so burned out, like even a few months ago, the thought of like living my life again almost felt impossible. I was just so burned out. And I think there's a name for it, like autistic burnout, and that's a real thing. And you just feel brain dead. You just feel like you can't do anything else, and everything feels like a burden. And I've never been through a process like that before in my life, but just the thought of like exerting myself in any way, shape, or form just felt like too much for me. And so getting through that process, though, it was a challenge. But when the Lord set me free, it was a few months ago. It was like once I felt that burden lift, that whatever was, it was a necessary pain that I was going through, so I could like go through this process. But once I felt that lift like a few months ago, I've just been getting nonstop revelation on, because you don't really get the clarity on the past season until it's over, right? And then God starts clarifying, this is what I was doing, this is, and then the revelation comes in, and you're in that cocoon phase, and you feel like you're dying, you feel like nothing's happening, you feel like you're you know just not you know you're not productive, you have no fruit, you feel barren, you feel just like you're dying inside. And then all of a sudden you come back to life, and he starts breathing life on you again, and you want to live again. And it's like, oh yeah. And then you start to see all the stuff he was doing when you thought he wasn't doing anything. You thought nothing was happening. You thought you were wasting your life away in a pit somewhere, forgotten about, like God has forgotten me. And the whole time he was working on your heart, he was working on stuff, but it just didn't feel like that because nothing visible was happening. And so when you start to exit a season like that, that's when revelation comes, and you're like, oh, I get it. That's what he was doing. So a lot of times when God takes us through that dying process, and we die a million deaths. Paul said, I die daily. I die daily. And that's what it feels like sometimes. But some seasons he has, I think I've noticed a cycle in my life, a pattern that he'll kind of take me through some stuff and then just let me sit with that for a while. And then he'll take me through some more stuff and then I'll have to sit with that for a while. And that sitting sometimes feels like a dying, but we're basically taking in all the lessons from the prior seasons and like, going, through that. What lessons have you learned? What did you gain from all your experiences? You know what I mean? And you just kind of have to sit in that for a minute and then move on to the new, you know what I mean? So it's been a beautiful cycle. And so, like I said, I'm going to stay here. I got things going on until February. So I'll probably either go home, or I might go home anyway, just for a minute. And, I need to get some stuff done there too. So whether I go to California or not, I'm not sure. But, anyway, New York has been one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. Like, I'm grateful for every second of it. I love it. So, love to you guys too. But anyway, you guys have a great week, and sometimes when nothing's happening, everything is happening. When it feels like nothing, he's not even there, like you're just forgotten about. Sometimes he's doing his best work. You know what I mean? And so like, don't give up in a season that feels yucky, or that feels like, you're dying, or depressing, or fruitless, or whatever, because I promise you, when you come out of that, oh, that fruit that grows after that pruning season will be the best fruit of your life. And so anyway, I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great week.